welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Ron Levin. With me tonight is none other than the Doc Polite. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good. Recovering from old man injury.
Old man injury. I hear what you're saying, but I ain't gonna believe it. Hey, let me just say first and foremost, the general got a special assignment, and he and I had a conversation throughout the day about what he was. He's always out there being a gladiator, Doc.
Yeah, I know. I know. People don't know, but he is one of the most successful and hardworking attorneys in Central Florida. And not only that, this is the guy that when I met him, he was out there doing the work.
Yeah.
And he works in many capacities and doesn't try to get credit. We love credit in our community. Give me credit for what I did. But a true leader doesn't need that credit.
And you're right, Doc. But you know what, Doc? I'm glad you hit on that, because when we talk about Attorney Greg Jackson, not only is he a trial attorney, personal injury attorney, Greg Jackson is also a CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency expert, wrote the first white paper to the House and the Senate regarding how CRAs can be used more effectively versus some of the things that have taken place in the past. But when you talk about trailblazers and people and action and community, we got a special guest, and I'll bring that up in a short second. But Doc, have you looked at the races that are coming up?
Yeah.
You didn't say that with a whole lot of energy, man.
I try to be supportive and stuff, because one of the things I know is it's not always as bad as it seems. But at the same time, the reason I think that a lot of things are in the situation that they are in, or the status that they are in, is because we've allowed the standards to slip for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I don't want to disparage the races and the quality of the candidates. But I would say this: it could be much better. And there are more qualified people that should be in these races. And we're going to get to talk to a couple of them over the next couple of weeks. Because one of the things we have to do is sometimes we have to show people what they need versus what's out there.
Yeah.
You want somebody that is an advocate that's able to advocate effectively on your behalf as a community leader.
You're right, Doc. But Doc, here's something else, man. And you kind of I'm leading, but you lead me tonight. You lead me tonight. When you say that, Doc, I'm gonna go ahead and come forth and say a candidate that I was solidly behind, and this don't happen too often, but a candidate that I was solidly behind didn't win re-election, and I'm gonna just say it was my good friend Mayor Brian Nelson. Now, Doc, I want you to break down and go down the path, and I don't want you to go down the long way. But here's what I got to say to you. I hear a lot of people that, since their candidate did not win, they're choosing not to do anything at all. They're choosing just to say, okay, throw their hands up. And Doc, I'm gonna tell you, I almost felt like that, but it's almost like knowing a preacher who runs for office. And you know what? Here's a good example. And I'm gonna just Pastor Alexander Wynn, who is still a commissioner for the city of Apopka. He lost his race. And here's the example that I'm going to say to you, Doc. He lost his race, and I was having a conversation with him. And I said to him, man, you are a man of God. You preaching hope, and you're preaching to people about a better tomorrow. And he stopped me in my tracks, and he said, you don't have to tell me I got to practice what I preach. So you won't see Commissioner Pastor Alexander Smith walking around with his head down. The question is, what does he do next? And that's the question for.
Well, he's going to go right back to what he did before, which is serve the community.
Correct.
It's not. I mean, it's not like he's a one-hit wonder or a community pariah. He's always been out there.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
When Billy Dean was there, he was working with him, hand in hand, him and Mrs. Dean. I seen him. Okay. And they certainly have always been advocates for Papa. Commissioner Billy Dean was always, he would talk noise, but me and him, we agreed about a lot of things that needed to take place for a Papa. They loved the Papa.
Well, Doc, one of the things that I will say, and I'll stand behind, because again, you, myself, Attorney Greg Jackson, we sit up here and we talk about, be educated about your candidates, learn about your candidates, seek some knowledge and wisdom about your candidates. We can't do that and then turn around when an election takes place and the person that we wanted to win don't win. We got to honor what the people have decided, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna respect what the people have decided. But there's another side of this coin too, Doc. And that side of the coin is, what happens to those folk who come out and campaign and tell you everything that they hope for the community? What happens to them? Where do they go? It's almost like one of those things. Where are they now? And we got a great guest that's going to be coming on our show that's going to exemplify what happens to candidates that.
We jump right in. So let me tell the people, you are tuned in to Let's Talk Nation, and we guarantee to raise your IQ at least 2,000 points this evening. You're going to learn something, whether you like it or not. If we have to hunt you down and force it in your brain, we will. So I couldn't
say it any better. I couldn't say it any better than that. Hey, Doc, let me throw a few things out there, man, for everybody so that they're prepared. We have the mayor of Orange County race that's coming up soon. We have, and I'm not going to go through each candidate right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you how many people are running in that race. In the Orange County mayor race, we have 6 candidates that's running in that race. And people don't realize how important judges are. I mean, we don't even think about doing any homework on judges, but we have 10 individuals running for judgeships. Doc, for the single member districts, Board of Orange County Commissioners for District 2, there's 3 candidates running for District 2. For District 4, we also have 3 candidates. No, I'm sorry. We have 2 candidates running. We have 2 candidates that withdrew from that race. So for District 4, we have 2 candidates that's running. For District 6, we have 4 candidates running. And Doc, let me here's something that blows my mind, but we live in a society that people have the right to run for office. Doc, let me ask you, how many people do you think are running for Orange County District 7 commission race? How many people do you think?
Probably about 20.
Well, you were close. 14.
Okay. Now, Rod, we both have done our public share of public speaking. And one of the things that we always try to do is tell people, you don't have to be the boss. Go find somebody that's already doing and helping.
Yeah.
And this is one of the, I'm willing to bet you that it's a heavily Democratic district.
It is. It is. Well, Orange County itself is heavily Democratic.
Yeah. And what Democrats have a tendency to do is everybody breaks down into their subgroups, and everybody got an agenda. There's no party, what do you call it? Slate platform. There's no universal platform, in many cases, they just kind of go based on what they think. It's sort of like the 12 blind men and the elephant.
I don't know that story, Doc.
And 12 blind men, well, they had never seen elephants, so they were taking the experience of elephant, and each of them grabbed hold to a different part of the elephant. One of them grabbed hold of the ear. They said, "Oh, it's like a fan." One grabbed hold of the nose. "Oh, it's a hose." One grabbed the tail. "Oh, it's a brush." You see what I'm saying? Because of their perspective, they all experience the one thing in different ways. And that's the poison that the Democrats are taking now. Everybody got their own agenda, and they see the Democratic Party benefiting them only through their perspective. You got every ethnic group, you got every special interest group that all want to have a slate and have a voice. When they haven't coalesced around universal issues that seek to address the entire party's needs. And this is why they keep losing.
And Doc, I know 14 people has to be a record for an Orange County seat. I don't know this to be fact, but I'm willing to guess.
No, I think it's not. I think it's probably 17 or 18, if memory serves me correct. Don't hold me to that now. You might be right.
But one other thing that you and I and a bunch of other folk have observed, man, and I don't know if it's prank time. I don't know, but we've seen a lot of District 7 flyers floating everywhere, man. I mean, for individuals that haven't even qualified, to the extent that.
Well, I mean, we talked about that across the weekend, and we expressed our feelings about it and what could it mean, and it's just unfortunate that some people don't understand cause and effect. They don't think things through. They're not looking at the impact beyond their 5 minutes of fame.
And what we saw, Doc, in the conversation we had is, don't lessen the importance of leadership in a district that needs leadership the most.
Well, here's the thing that always gets me. I hear people talk about voting. I've heard it all my life about, I don't vote because they're going to do what they want to do. It's not going to help me. But here's the thing. If your vote didn't count, they wouldn't be trying so hard to take it from you.
Yeah, but
if your vote didn't count and matter, they wouldn't be thinking of ways to negate it. So it must mean something. Anything that's valuable that somebody's trying to take from you has some value.
And Doc, you're absolutely correct. But here's the other part of the conversation that you didn't say, and I'm going to say, if you're not getting the outreach to you in the form of a mailer or robocalls or somebody knocking on your door, it's because there's this thing called data. And if you are accustomed to not voting, they're not going to waste their time knocking on your door or mailing you a flyer or sending robocalls to you to get your vote. They're going to direct it at individuals that have a track record of voting. But Doc, again, for District 7, 14 individuals, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, next Monday, Let's Talk Nation, so that we can bring some education, some information to our audience. Next Monday, we're going to have a candidate for District 7, and we're not going to have this exclusive for one person. We do have a slate of individuals from District 7 that have reached out, and we're going to start lining them up and bringing them on the show. But we're going to have Miss Shannon Curry, who's one of the individuals that have qualified to run in District 7, so we can hear what Ms. Curry has to say, and then you be the judge. So again, we have 14 individuals that's in that race for District 7, and we need to take it seriously because each and every district has its needs and concerns, and you need that type of leadership. So we'll be bringing Ms. Shannon Curry on, and last but not least, in District 8, we have 5 candidates that's running for office, and we'll slowly but surely back into these races and tell you a little bit more about those candidates. And we'll have candidates that are going to be appearing on the show. But Doc, we have a special treat for everybody tonight. And I think, Doc, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to have that individual join us. So stay tuned in and we're going to welcome you to call in and, let us know what you think. We'll be right back.
Daybreak iFix. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Jaguars and Porsche. Joe's Quality Auto Repair. I specialize in European cars. Daybreak iFix at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair. Located at 1240 State Road 436 in Altamont Springs. Daybreak iFix. Call me, mention Let's Talk Nation and bring your certified dealership repair quote. And I beat by 30%. Remember, Daybreak iFix. Call me at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair at 407-409-6040. Again, 407-409-6040. After Daybreak iFix. Joe's European Quality Auto Repair.
Hey, welcome back to Let's Talk Nation. And Doc, I told you that we were going to have a special treat this evening. We have, I don't even know, Doc, if I want to use the word candidate. I'm going to use the word champion because we're going to, well, you know what, Doc? I'm going to just go right to it. We have in the studio with us tonight, Mr. Malika Harris, was a candidate for seat 4. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yes,
hey,
sir.
As you can tell, we're excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming because we often talk about candidates and we say, okay, when candidates don't win, what happens to them? Where do they go? We're going to have a good time tonight because your history is speaking volumes about who you are and where you want to go with this. So, Doc, did I tell you we got a champion here this evening?
Yeah, that's what he said. You're a fighter.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And I got to ask you.
The Mike Tyson of the community.
Hey, Doc, what did they say? What did Mike Tyson say about all those challengers that step in the ring and have a plan?
So everybody got a plan till they get hit in the mouth.
There you go.
Hey, but something very spectacular in your case. You jumped in the race by political standards. You jumped in the race late. But what you were able to do, and people would sit up here and the viewers that's listening, they are probably sitting back saying, okay, she won. People don't realize you jumped in the race late in the city of Apopka, a population of about 65,000, 70,000 people. And you had some hell of a surrogates out there, but what you did was amazing.
Thank you.
So once again, welcome to Let's Talk Nation. But before we go into the question stuff, people want to know, who are you? I mean, yeah, we know you live in the city of Apopka. Yeah. We know you ran for office, but who is Ms. Harris that I'm sitting here? Who are you?
First of all, it was an amazing campaign, and I will say that. I late in the race, but the incredible effort that me and my team put forth, I would look back on it and say, wow, we did a great job. People
gonna steal your team, by the way, because you had a hell of a team.
Sure did. And that talks to teamwork and collaboration. When we talk about serving the community, everything in politics, we can't do it alone.
You're right. How did you find yourself in Apopka?
I moved from New York City.
Oh, you're a New York lady.
Hold on. I found myself in New York City, going to grad school, ended up staying there for about 10 years, but Florida's home.
Okay.
I'm a Miami girl. I came to Orlando, and I was just like, I don't need any more cities in my life. I need that small town, what I thought at the time was small town, homey comfort. I can go to the city when I want to, but I'm home and it's quiet and peaceful. And that's really what I love about Apopka when I first moved there. Now, there's been some change over the past 8 years, and then we can go into the next hour or two about that. But Apopka's home. Man,
and you know what? I love that. And something you and I have in common is the fact that I'm from Miami as well. Grew up in Carol City, went to college in Ohio. And when I moved to Orlando, I stayed in Orlando, first college job, a few years, and my wife's from Apopka. And so we built a home back, it was 30,000 people back then. Now we're double that population.
And growing. And that's what we have to remember. We're growing. We're not stopping. People are moving in, our population is growing, which is exciting. But then we look at, well, what does that look like and how are we balancing all of that?
Absolutely. You know what? The thing that I will say about you is you come to the table with energy.
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about this teamwork, because it just came out of nowhere.
It did. And what I will say, and this is just Malika, you don't let any opportunity just pass you by, because in life, we'll have more regrets for the things that we didn't do. And when I looked at this opportunity and I'm a woman of faith, I will say that my steps were ordered and this was ordained.
You knew your assignment.
That's the first and foremost above all else. And then from there, it was okay. Let me be still. Let me listen. Let me see where I go from here.
Man.
So I came in with a lot of energy. I came in knowing what I know about the community because I've been in the community doing the work.
Gotcha.
So this wasn't a haphazard decision. Let me just throw my name in the race. I heard, what we're seeing in Orange County with so many candidates lined up for one seat. But this was really a natural progression of what I've already been doing, leadership and service, from boards, HOA, the professional piece, community relations, the advocacy. And it all really came together. And I said, you know what? Apopka is my home. I've been doing a lot of that work on the state level, national level. Let me bring it closer to home.
Second largest municipality in Orange County.
Let me ask you a question. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead, Doc. We hear you.
Okay, I got cut off for some reason. One of the things that I always want to understand is what motivates a person to come from another place and settle, and then they become active in that community. What drives it? Because many times people who have been in that community are less active than those who are now coming in. Right. And it seems to be a pattern here in Central Florida that I've observed probably over the last 25 years, where people who are not born and raised here tend to bring up a more of a community-centric outreach. So what compels you to get into community outreach and help?
I would say it's a calling. I think public service, public office is really a calling, and not everyone is going to do it, but everyone has to be involved. So you look at the whole life cycle of the candidate to the voters and everyone in between. Wherever I live, wherever my roots are, that is my community, and so for me, it was there was no question marks or doubt in my mind. I've been in Apopka for almost 10 years now. And this was the time living in Orlando. I was involved in Orlando. And so again, it's just, I think inaction speaks volumes, and that's not, what I'm about. I'm about being actionable, and that's what led me to this journey.
So how do you, as a this is your first time running for office?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Okay, so now you're a veteran.
Hold on now.
How do you now translate that to encourage young people to get on board and become community minded and community oriented?
The young people, and I love our foundation of our seniors and the ones who came before us, but the young people are the foundation, the backbone, and the legacy all at the same time. When we think about the progress and the generation that they are now, they're the ones that are going to be carrying us forth. The way that I engage young people is being a mentor, and I'll tell you, mentoring is the joy, and also this is really what's going on with the young people right now. And so I say that to say that we have to have a seat for them at the table. I have been advocating for community advisory boards and community-led boards, and I think there needs to be a seat for, that teen, that millennial, however we want to identify them. Young people should be pre-registering to vote when they turn 16. If you get your driver's license, go out and get your voter's card at the same time so that you're ready to be engaged and active and involved. The last thing I'll share is that we have a lot of role models who are young people. And I think peer-to-peer mentoring is so important, because look at us. We can go and mentor the young people, but having those who have already, developed that leadership skill, mentor your peers. There's nothing better than hearing it come from your classmate and your peer, how to get involved, how to uplift our community.
Well, I tell people, I'm a senior. I don't look like it, but I am.
Go ahead, Doc.
And I tell my peer group to sit down and shut up, because I've been around Central Florida a long time. I was born and raised here, and I know, when they say, where the bodies are buried.
Okay.
I know where the bodies are buried. And one of the things that I've always been critical about is my generation fumble. We fumble badly. We have not set excellent examples of continuing leadership. When I came up, there was a cadre of community leaders who taught and made us understand our history, our community, what our values were, and those things. My generation, we got out there, we wanted to smoke weed and party and do all of this stuff and run around, and we didn't pay attention, keep our eye on the ball. We didn't think, we thought we had won. And because of that, we're now seeing a regression on many of the institutions and things that my generation took for granted. So we can't speak to you. Many of us cannot speak to you, and you guys have got to come in, and you got to pick up the mantle we drop.
We have to bridge that divide.
See, this needs to be an honest conversation in the Black community.
Doc, and you hit it right on the head. When you say honest conversation in the Black community, it leads me to my next question that I'm gonna go at, but it's important. Doc really opened the door for me from the perspective of, there's been so many initiatives, whether they're local or whether they're statewide, and a lot of those initiatives, and I'm gonna say this, they've dealt with boyhood, responsible fatherhood, but one of the areas that we're lacking in, and Doc just really created the prelude to it, is responsible leadership. And you don't have to be in public office. You can be that citizen in the community that young guy looks at for leadership, but we have young people that look at individuals who are successful and look to emulate it. And if we have our elders around here that are showing no leadership, or the leadership that they're showing is not the kind that that's acceptable. So my question for you is, what's your next step?
Onward and upward. I take this as momentum. I take this as it has strengthened me. It has stretched me beyond, the imaginable. And I truly believe that I have learned so much. This is a big year for Orange County and the state of Florida. And so I think, it's up from here. And I say that with all due respect to say that it takes a step forward to be able to say, I'm in the game. Let me see where I go from here. So within the city of Popka, I'm going to, stay engaged, stay involved. Orange County, again, I'm already chair of the Orange County Parks and Rec Board. I've been on the board for about 6 years now. Okay. And so, service and leadership is in me. But the thing that you mentioned and that I'm committing to is bringing others along with me.
And that's got to happen.
That has to happen.
And and
right
Doc,
now.
Attorney Greg Jackson and you, myself, we've been having this conversation for, Doc, we've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah, we have been talking about building the bench.
Building the bench. But I tell you, I am very optimistic. And I'd be remiss if I did not mention an individual that has built, that's on the bench, let's say. No, I can't even say she's on the bench. Commissioner Nadia Anderson. When I look at her leadership on the dais, she's young, and she's leading, and I'm believing that it's compelling more individuals. And here's where I would go with this. She's not compelling other Blacks. She's compelling young people, whether you're Black, white, no matter what color, to get involved. But the other thing she's doing, she's not sitting on the sideline, and that's why I like where you're going with this. This was a race that you got in, and man, you fought.
Yes.
But now I'm looking to see what kind of champion are you going to be, unelected, for the community.
The voice. That's the easy answer. Being a voice. I think there are so many, and being out campaigning. Folks don't know who to talk to. They don't know where to go. They don't know what I say doesn't matter. And so I want all of those thoughts and sentiments to shift.
You're right.
So being the voice is fine. That's easy enough. But not only that, taking that message to the commission, taking that message, single-handedly to, one-on-one to say, this is what I heard in our community. And it's not just from one person.
You're right.
Because collectively, our voice is so important. So appointed, elected, aside, it's just being able to say, this is what we're needing in our community, and holding our elected officials accountable. That's the biggest
Are you still in my cheat sheet now? Because
I'm not. But we're thinking along the same lines.
Hey, but you know what?
Accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah.
But here's something that City of Apopka, what most people don't realize, there's no single member districts.
Right.
You sit up on the dais and you're getting votes and you're representing the entirety of the city of Apopka. But here's the thing that I believe is past time. And I'm not gonna, Mayor Nelson, this is a guy who has integrity. This guy is genuine. He led the city of Apopka in the best interest of the people. And I'm gonna just put it out there. But I also believe now, because there's probably more than likely a lack of accountability when you're sitting in that seat and you realize the majority of your votes are coming from North Apopka. You don't have to be accountable to the South or the West or any other area. So there's going to be a day, and I'm thinking a day coming
very soon,
that there's going to be single member districts, and then those constituents can hold their individual commissioners accountable.
Right.
And I love a lot of the things that you had to say, but we talked about how you got here. Yes. We talked about where you want to go, but how do you navigate that process? How do you put those pieces together? Because I'm already hearing some great things about you, and people are trying to, civic organizations. Yeah. So you got the building blocks. Where do you
stay connected?
Stay connected.
I think that's the biggest thing. Stay connected. Keep, as they say, keep my ear to the street to hear what's going on and who's saying it. And then going back to the single member districts, as our population continues to grow, we're going to approach 75,000, 100,000. There's no way each commissioner can manage that breadth of the population
with the accountability,
with the same accountability and focus and quite frankly fairness across the board.
Man, so you hit some key words.
So we have to be thinking ahead, and we have to make sure that all of our communities are represented and that the elected officials are held accountable and doing what they say they're going to do.
Doc, I'm sorry.
One of the things that Apopka is going to have to really deal with, I think there needs to be a ethical framework for leadership in the city. I mean, a real framework, because that's where things are going to run off the rail. When you have the kind of behind the scenes stuff that has happened over the last year or so with commissioner behavior and worrying about a person's credibility. Mm-hmm. These things will cause problems because it's going to taint the entire government. If I can't trust you as a commissioner to be ethical and forthright, then I'm going to think that about all commissioners.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now I told Rod this. We're at the place where it's faithful. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Doc, around to find out. Yeah. Okay.
And find out. Because this is my take about ethics. When you have had your leadership questioned several times about your ethical behavior, there's a problem. That's a pattern. Okay. It's just like domestic violence. If your husband hit you one time and then he hit you again, you got a problem. You can't ignore it and say, oh, something's going on. This is an ethical problem. When a leader is constantly called out, or they seem to make questionable choices and decisions, you can't ignore that. That's telling you who they are.
And Doc, I know where you're going, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna correct the ship because I want to stay focused on you. But I know where Doc is going, and where he's going. There's been a lot of dialogue and conversation about Commissioner Nestor that sits on the dais that nobody knew about him. And I mean, he's a 2-year commissioner. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of information that's coming out now that I think the public has been unaware of. And so that's what Doc is alluding to. But I just think,
but not just him. It's other people where that's questionable. I'm talking about a broad brush here. Sure. And what I'm trying to point out is that the voters have got to start doing their homework a little bit better, because what they're doing is electing problems. So you're choosing to have a problem you don't have to have.
And that doesn't help any of us.
Correct.
Exactly.
It's
And that's my take on it. You're choosing to have a problem that you don't have to have.
But you're right. It sets us back. And, I will say this, and here's one of the questions that I have for you that kind of falls into that. And that is, what big bet, ambitious yet realistic idea do you have for the future of Apopka?
Yeah, there's so many things that have to be fixed. I think a lot of these issues and concerns are, quite frankly, complex because they've gotten so far beyond the simplicity of
We've gone from 30,000 to almost 70,000 people.
Yeah. So we're now trying to figure out how to rectify things that should have been rectified, years ago. That said, I think we move forward. I think there is a positive outlook. I'm a very optimistic person. And so, better days must come for our city. I truly do believe that. However, I think we have to have the experts at the table. I think we have to have some really strong knowledge base. I'm talking about the city center and Main Street. How can we get that, on and popping so that we have somewhere to go on a Sunday afternoon? I'm thinking about the youth. Where's our Boys and Girls Club, our YMCA? Where is that state-of-the-art facility where, as high school students are transitioning, they want to be able to have some creative space.
And you know what? Here's what I say.
More of that.
You've heard of iron sharpening iron, right? I'm gonna sharpen you a little bit.
Yeah.
We talk about Boys and Girls Club, YMCA. I don't have an issue with the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA, but I'll tell you this: when I was Orange County Commissioner, under the leadership of then Mayor Teresa Jacobs, and me being a commissioner, I didn't work with Mayor Jacobs, but we were able to address through architecture, through the budget, without raising taxes, the need in communities. When you talk about youth, there's mom and pop and not-for-profit organizations in the community that's doing some good work if they had the resources.
And that's the thing.
And that's the key.
Where's the grant funding? Where's the support? Where's, bring them into a meeting, have them do an expose on all of our nonprofits. So I've been in the nonprofit world. And like you said, we need to know about them. We need to support them. I was envisioning a Popka Day Cares, just a day of service, a 5K or just something. A lot of cities have this where you just come out, a Popka Gives, whatever we want to call it, but something that gives us that sense of community. It touches on many things. It brings the nonprofit and the charitable organizations together, and it brings our small businesses together as well. And it's just collaboration and neighbors helping neighbors. So when I think about something that's ambitious, a big bet, why don't we have that? Or how can we enhance, some of these activities that are already
happening? And that's bringing those ideas to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love about this conversation with you is the fact that you're going to be still bringing those ideas to the table. And you understand, while you're bringing them to the table, you're having those conversations with the community, everybody gets, and I don't remember what it is, 3 or 4 minutes doing public. So you remember 3 minutes doing public comment, and that's the opportunity for the public to say to their elected leaders, here's what we want, or here's what I want you to think about, here's what I want you to work on. And then they get to decide what to do with what's been, divulged in 3 or 4 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Why is it limited to 3 minutes?
All municipalities, Doc, have a time span. If you don't have a time span, it's almost like, and I hate to say it,
we'll be running our mouths forever, right?
Yeah, we'll be in church.
Yeah.
So there's a time limit, and so guess what? Within that 3 minutes, you got to get out what you want to say.
Yeah.
And make it factual. Take documents so that you can leave it as a public record of what it is you're saying, or if you got a plan.
Exactly.
But three minutes is not enough time to address anything. It's really not.
Doc, this is something that's national, and while you can say 3 minutes,
I know, but
the max is 4 minutes in the municipality. But what it makes you do, it forces you to get up to the mic, and you know what?
Be concise.
Be concise.
Say what you have to say. Yeah.
But guess what? Guess how often, and it's sad to say, but guess how often that public comment is not used.
Sure.
So when we talk about 3 minutes is not enough or 4 minutes is not enough, well, it's not enough people going to the mic.
And that's why I say, how can I, in terms of what's next and continuing with this, be a voice?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people may or may not be able to attend the meetings. people may not want to stand up. People may run out of time, to Doc's point. So collectively, let me be the voice when, someone is not able to use their own or needs some, reinforcement and some support.
And that's what the community needs.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what communities need.
Hey, for those of you that tuned in and you want to make a comment or you want to dial in to talk to this champion and tell her what a great race she ran, you can dial in at 407-921-6195. Once again, that number is 407-921-6195. And again, I'm here with Miss Harris.
It's Harrison.
Miss is it
Harrison?
Oh, Harrison, Doc. I'm leaving out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here.
Harrison.
Doc, you let me do that. You let me do that.
Let me say this. I wear many hats. They tell you I can switch them and throw them off just like I change these glasses. But one of the things I've done in the past is been a political consultant for candidates. And one of the things I always try to encourage them is to build a kitchen table cabinet. And what I mean by that is you get those in the community who know this segment of the community, who knows that segment of the community, and get them make yourself a resource. Yeah. Get you like a little magnet on there. You become the resource. You're like a clearinghouse. When people need a problem addressed, you say, hey, go to my website, download this sheet. I got a list of resources there. That keeps you engaged. And when you're teaching people that you are a leader beforehand. So guess what? When it comes time for Miss Harrison to run again, guess what? I know her. We have a relationship in our community.
Yeah.
She's a resource. I know she will do the job well. See, you auditioned for the job before you actually had the job.
Right.
And I've had one candidate literally walk in off of this tactic. They didn't live up to the fullness of it, but it works. I know that it works.
It does, absolutely does.
Hey, and I got a question, and here's something because of the campaign. What is the single biggest lesson of this campaign that this campaign taught you, and what would you do differently next time? And I know that's a question that everybody is asked when they're a candidate.
And I would say if I had one more weekend or one more hour, and it was just time, a little bit more time, and because there's again talking about 60,000 residents, 35,000 registered voters, just the amount of time that it would take. So I would say time, and that is something that we all want an extra hour in the day, but truly that would have been so beneficial. A lesson learned is just like if I could have stayed up 24 hours a day and been doing this seriously and making the calls and going out to the different communities and visiting the organizations. So I would say time.
I know I like that answer. I like that answer because you're telling me and you're telling this audience that the investment was going to be into them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Doc, we never had somebody asking that question. We've never had anybody say, I just
wanted to meet more people, talk to more people, see what was on their minds. The people who've been in Apopka for 2 years, the people who've been here for 20 and 40 years, just the people. And everyone has a slightly different way that they're responding to, my interactions with them. But it all comes back to we want better for our community.
Doc, what you thought about that, Doc? Because I mean that.
Well, Apopka it has so much potential. It can be one of the greatest cities in Florida. I really believe that to the point, Ron, I wanted to buy a house, build a house in Apopka. Them prices was pricing.
The math was a math thing.
So, I had to come up the road a little bit and got the same house built for $50,000 less. So, that's the only reason I don't live in Apopka. And the fact is that it has a lot going for it. It has good schools, okay? It doesn't have a crime problem. It doesn't have a inner city or a urban decay problem, okay? It's positioned well, okay? It has a very educated citizenry, and there is unity there. There is a true unity for Apopka among the residents. They like their city.
We love
Okay.
it. And that's why I say our challenges are solvable.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are not things that we have to, stand by the wayside and say, oh boy, this is going to keep me up at night. We just need to get on it. And like you said, it's a great place to live.
It's growing pains because now I can tell you there was a time when Apopka was a good old boys town. And that is what you're seeing residual. You're seeing residual now from that time period. And I knew many of those people back then in the good old boy days and stuff. And it was hard to navigate. But now you have more progressive thinking people. They say, hey, look, this is us. It ain't us and them. It's us. It's all of us. And they realize that now. And because that becomes a strength for Apopka.
Absolutely.
And you know what? You're gonna make me do a Don Miller on you. Do you know Don Miller? Have you ever watched the Don Miller show?
No.
Hey, here's a plug to my buddy Don Miller, because you just said something. Every time Don says something that's cliches, when I meet up with him, he done put it on a shirt.
I love it.
He put it on a shirt. But you said something that you haven't trademarked, and so when you look up and you see I'm wearing the shirt. You said our challenges are solvable.
They sure are.
And that's profound.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Profound. It's simple, but it's true.
It is.
Man, boy, I tell you, I'm looking forward to some great things from you.
But,
as a matter of fact,
hey, when you got Chicken Littles with loudmouths running around telling you the sky's falling all the time, you're too busy looking up.
You're too busy looking up. You're right. But something that you said that I think you've already answered this in part. But how, I was going to ask the question, how will you channel what you built during the campaign, and go ahead and look at how do you build upon that in different projects and partner. But you responded in part to that. But I'm excited and looking forward to see where do you go from here? Because one of the things people don't realize is that seat that you ran for was to serve out the rest of the term of Nestor.
That's great.
And so that seemed to be up again in 2 years.
2 years comes around very fast.
Yeah.
I'm looking at ways to be involved in the commission, whether it is through one of the other boards, another planning, development, what have you, whatever the opportunity is. And I'm very hopeful that we will see some community advisory boards. I've seen that work very well in Orlando and in Orange County. And those are the types of boards where we have the citizens and the residents coming together to advise the commission.
You know what? When
so that is how I plan to really just stay connected.
You're eager. You're eager to get involved. And so I'm sitting up here and I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, if you're really, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about the individuals that we elect to serve. If you're really sincere about constituent services and you have a person who's eager to serve on those different volunteer boards, why the hell would you put up a fight?
Exactly.
So I will stay tuned.
It's not voluntold, right? It's literally saying, here I am.
It is.
You know my qualifications, you know my passion, I lead with integrity and compassion, and I have the experience. I'm going to do the work. And that's really what I hold myself accountable for as well.
But you know what? Here's what needs to happen. We see, and Doc, what are they called? Individuals that, and you know what? I support individuals to go to city and county commission meetings. But what we need to see is when individuals are up for these board appointments and things of the nature, we need to rally and make sure that supporters are in those same chambers, because Doc is right. We have people that go there for no other reason than to complain. Don't take anything to solve problems with whatsoever, but to complain. And I hear in your voice, and I can see you're ready to lead.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Doc, this is gonna be good. It's like we're waiting for part 2.
Well, and it's about time. It's about time. I don't want you to tell me your exact age, but tell me your age range. Are you in your 40s, your 50s, or 30s?
Yeah, you going to that? You subscribing to the woman? Don't tell it, but
all right, hold on.
I said range.
Doc.
Huh?
I know where you're going, Doc.
I'm borderline in both of those decades that you just mentioned.
You're in your 40s?
I'm borderline between the 30s and the 40s.
Okay. All right. You my kid.
It's so refreshing though. It's refreshing to.
But no. Let me say that, and the reason I'm asking that is because your generation has a much fresher perspective and outlook, because you went through a society that was very different from when I grew up. Okay. I grew up when I still had to sit in the theater as a little boy in the balcony. Yeah. I don't look like it, but I did. And that colors you. It really people don't understand how it impacts you lifelong. Having never experienced that, you have a different outlook. You know, I grew up with adults who were terrified to go in certain spaces. They just wouldn't do it. I don't care what you give them or tell them to go. No, I'm not going down there. I'm not bothering those folks. That kind of stuff. And your generation does not have that baggage. Mm-hmm. So
you know,
more focused and more fearless, huh?
Yeah, but you got a good point, Doc. And here's the part that Doc said what he said, and then I'm going to break it down. You know, I grew up in Miami, Carol City. My parents, me and my siblings didn't experience, or at least we didn't see it. Maybe our parents did a good job, but we didn't see racism and prejudice. And we were sheltered, if you would. But then your generation, and I'm going to say with my daughters, and they're younger, it's different. And so how do you see, because Doc talked about, you know, a Popkin I didn't experience. I've been there 17 years. I came, I guess, after or the transition. But how do you see going into this new era? Because what I see is a lot of individuals like yourself that has that energy, that vigor, that knows how to get up there and talk about what's going on now.
And I think it comes from a place of being courageous. You know, I would share with you, my grandmother, you were asking about my age. My grandmother turns 104.
Oh, wow.
May. And so when I think about, you know, who I am, but whose I am, we've conquered so much. You all have, you know, conquered so much to allow us to run, to allow us to be courageous and have the audacity to sit at tables and be in rooms. And so, you know, it would be shame on us to not take that as you don't have the same struggles that our parents and grandparents had.
Man.
Go. Hey, Rob, we gotta send Granny a Let's Talk Nation show.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. But
she would love it.
But Attorney Greg Jackson would love to hear, because we've talked about building a bid for a while. Right. And let me just say, myself, Doc, and I can speak for Attorney Greg Jackson. We're here to support you as you navigate in communities and you're advocating. And I'm gonna just tell you, shoot straight. We believe in doing things for the community, and we like to see the tangible benefit to the community. Yes. And man, just listen to you. But you said something else, and that sounded like, you know, one of my preacher friends. You know whose you are.
You do. We do.
Man.
You know, I come from a family, a hardworking parents, a family of educators. And I'll never forget how their sacrifice to allow me to be where I am every step of the way. And I'm talking about the encouragement, the support, you did something wrong, straighten up and get it right.
I love it, Doc.
You know, and that is what has shaped me and molded me into the woman I am today, to be so courageous and fearless, but also to pay it forward, because they didn't do any of that in vain. Man,
I'm just excited about what I'm hearing. Let me ask you this question. Are you involved in any sororities?
I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha.
See, girl, you better say that loud and clear. You know they're gonna get on you. You don't get them. They shout out. But
yes, and my dear sorors have supported me through and through on this campaign, and you know, service to mankind is what we do. And so surely, and even seeing you know, all of the elected officials who have risen to the occasion to serve, who are my sorors.
I see where a lot of support came from. I got
a family full of alphas and AKAs and deltas.
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So,
And let me say,
And I attended a HBCU, and we're all
where'd you go?
the
Where'd you
Divine
go?
Nine.
Get that shout out.
Florida A&M University.
Oh man, them Rattlers,
The
man.
Rattlers, yes.
Hey, my mama would be proud. My mama went to FAMU. Hey, you know what? I love what I'm hearing, but then some of the things that you're saying that you're not saying, I'm reading between the lines now. Those fraternities and sororities. I am going to give a shout out to a guy that I think has been showing courage out there, and I noticed he's been doing a lot of this lately. And I'm gonna take my hat off to brother Russell Drake, who's out there and he's grinding. And Mondo, I don't hear no applause for Russell Drake coming down. There we go. But Russell Drake is out there and he's articulating things that need to be said. And here's the thing that I continue to hope and pray. I know, let me just say this. I'm a Republican, but before I'm a Republican, I am a human being. I'm a man. We have a right to pick any party affiliation. And I think we all, Democrats, Republicans, Independent, we all, those of us who believe in a higher faith, we love the man upstairs. We love our families. We want to get a good job. We want to be able to support. But the other side of it is, no matter what party affiliation you're in, you want people to be treated right.
That's for sure.
You want
do
people to be
unto
treated.
others as you would have, the basics that we learned as children. And that stands true to this day. We want people to be treated right. We want to be respectful to each other. We want to give and receive that same respect.
And you know what? I am going to look for some great things from you.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I mentioned my brother Russell Drake for a reason, because here's one of the things I do want to see us do. I want to see us transcend beyond this mentality that if you not of a specific party affiliation, I'm not talking to you. Guess what? When you have that, when you get that, you know, when you have that mentality, when there's a change in administration, why should Black folk starve? And so, if you look at every other ethnicity, they are represented on both sides. And I'm not going to go down that path, but what I am going to say to you is we support people who are doing for all people.
Correct.
And I like what you're doing. I like what you brought to the table. Doc, we got a few minutes. What's on your mind with it?
You know, I always say I don't vote my party, I vote my values.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't subscribe to that. I'm a registered Democrat, and Rod is a Republican. Greg is a Democrat. Now, Greg and I are conservative Democrats, but we still Democrats. Now, they almost ran me out the party, but I like a good fight. Rod will tell you, I fight on the dime. So, you know, we're there, and he's absolutely right. I cannot get behind the idea that we automatically displace Black people because they vote Republican. Okay, or they may vote for one that's not a D. They may vote for independent. You vote based on your values. The problem is that the Democratic Party has fooled a lot of people that they don't have values, and they have values. They just not voting. They voting D instead of their values. So, you know, if you want a better community, then we need somebody like Ms. Harrison.
You're right. You're right. So,
they got nothing to do with a D or R. I'm voting my value.
Thank you.
Hey, so what Doc is saying, because we're winding down, we're going to keep our eyes on you.
Yes.
So I want you to look at that red light there and let people know this is not the end of seeing you. This is just the beginning.
Truthfully, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And I say onward and upward because together we have so much more to accomplish. And again, 2 years goes by very fast. This is an important year for the midterms in our county and in our state. So let's get involved. Let our voice be heard. Go out and vote, because truly you can't complain and you can't have that dissension if you haven't at least let your voice be heard. And not only that, bring someone along with you. Bring your neighbor, your friend, the 18-year-old who you know is now just ready to vote. But let's get out there. Let's do this and let's be involved and engaged, and let's communicate with each other. And like we said, the values of the person matters. Thank you all.
Hey, you heard it from a shining star. Ms. Harrison, thank you for joining Let's Talk. And Doc Polite, the only thing I got to say to you, brother, You don't have to go home.
But you got to get out of here.
Hey, we'll see you next Monday on Let's Talk Nation. Our special guest will be Miss Shannon Curry, who's a candidate for District 7.
Yeah, we're kicking off a special series, so y'all tune in. Next week is going to start Miss Curry, Shannon Curry, and she is a good friend. I love Shannon to death. Her whole family. I know mom, brother, husband, kids.
Stop leaning. Stop leaning.
Yeah.
We bringing some candidates.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for her because hey, she's just like you, Ms. Harris, a very classy lady, well spoken, well rounded, has a strong sense of community and family. Those are the kind of leaders that we need.
Yes.
So,
well, y'all stay tuned.
It's 8 o'clock. So
yeah.
So y'all got to get out of here.
We'll see you next time. Doc, appreciate you, brother. Ms. Harrison, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.